I didn't feel I'm good enough. I was looking for that external recognition and acceptance.
Kasia Krasucka is a certified embodiment coach. She has years of experience as a motivational speaker and language tutor.
For almost 2 decades,
Kasia has built a successful career in translation and interpreting,
working with international companies.
What started as a holiday job?
It started with the holiday work. I was a waitress, car park attendant, football stadium, like a guard.
Will quickly turn into permanent residency.
After 7 weeks, I met the guy and he fell in love. And I fell in love too. I applied for the British passport.
And a whirlwind of unfulfillment.
I became a workaholic. One, relationships. A disaster. One after another, new boyfriend, abusive, disrespectful. What is going on? I realized that I was angry at my dad. Alcohol was involved, extremely abusive language, like really, like the one that you really don't want to have in the family. I was living in that reality. Oh my God, I have chills when I think about it. Because I thought if I was laying there on the floor, curled down in my 20s, having a knife in my head and thinking of suicide. Cut or shall I not? And one of the big fears was that.
Welcome to the Chicha Show, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have the pleasure to sit down with an extremely educated woman, a certified transformative coach and mentor. She is also an embodiment coach, a motivational language speaker, a translator, an interpreter, a language tutor, and she has worked with some of the biggest TV stations and business brands like TV3 Sports and Rossmann, just to name a few. So it's quite a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Kasia.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Wow. I must say you've had such a long and successful career.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
great.
I feel like I've been exploring, and that's where it brought me so far. So, yeah.
How's life going for you these days?
It's good. I feel like I'm in the period of deep transformation.
Okay.
But it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. I like it.
Amazing. How's your mental health?
Stable.
Yeah.
And I think it's also using my tools that I gather from embodiment coaching. As an embodiment coach, it helps me also with my mental state.
Amazing. And are you happy?
Yes, thank you.
Are
Very,
you-
very.
very?
Yes.
Okay. How would you define happiness if you had to?
I see it as an peaceful inner state.
Yeah.
So I learned to differentiate temporary happiness that is stimulated by external circumstances and that stable happiness, that sense of inner balance and alignment that you can have on a daily basis without waiting for something exciting to happen.
So, guys, this interview is specifically made for women who are looking for the next step in love, life, and career. It is truly a blessing to have Kasia today with us to inspire and motivate you to find the true joy and unleash the power within you. All right. So let's begin with her background and her work as well. Could you please tell us, like, who's a transformative coach and what kind of services do they provide?
Transformative coach is for people who are experiencing readiness for something new in life and they don't necessarily know exactly what it is. It can be, as you mentioned, in their career or in their love life or moving countries or starting new education. I feel like throughout my life history, I have gone through many chapters where that transformation was happening quite intense. So I know how to navigate big changes in life. Like, for example, I moved countries twice and I had to learn how to be myself in those new environments.
Yeah.
So also with my jobs, I've been changing career a few times now, and I know that my chapter is not finished here.
Yeah.
So it also feels like I know how to help others navigate the change.
Okay. Amazing. How old are you, Kasia?
I am 42.
42. She's 40, guys.
Yes, I'm 42.
Where are you from?
I was born in Poland,
Mm-hmm.
and in my 20s, I moved to England.
Okay.
So I lived there for 10 years. So I got British citizenship as well.
Okay.
And now I live in Denmark. I've lived in Denmark for 10 years.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that. We'll get into that. So in 2004, you completed your bachelor in English language studies at the University of Zuchin.
Szczecin, yes, in Poland. Yeah.
Okay. 2006, you move on to complete your master's degree in English philology at the University of Zuchin again.
Yes.
But then you decide to move on to England in 2007
yes.
to do a second master's degree in translation and interpreting
That's
at
correct.
Westminster,
Yes.
right? Could you please tell us like what inspired this move from Poland to England? Because it could have been like many other countries, but you chose like England specifically.
It was it started with the holiday work that I was invited by my friend from high school.
Okay.
She actually said, Kasia, listen, I'm going to England in the summer. I'm going to earn some money. My daddy works there during the summer, so we can get some work there and live at my father's.
Yeah.
Said, okay, let's do it. So she knew that also that she can rely on my English because I was already studying at university. And we did that. It was a 2 months work holiday. And we've been doing such variety of wonderful but weird jobs. Like I was a waitress, I was a car park attendant, I was a football stadium, like a guard for people not to run on the stage on the pitch. Yes, really random jobs, but it was kind of funny to do it and good money back then. For someone coming from Poland as well.
Yeah.
Back then. So while we were there for 2 months, after 7 weeks, I met the guy, and he fell in love. And I fell in love too. So that's how our kind of romance started. But that was my last week there. And then I said, listen, I have to go back to Poland because I want to finish my education, my master's. And then he said, it's fine. We will continue meeting anyway. And he booked flights actually 6 months in advance for every second weekend so that we could see each other. So we were flying every second weekend to each other. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
But romance didn't survive. So I moved to England eventually. We lived together for 1.5 years. We bought the house kind of together because it wasn't my money put into it. But we were kind of settling down. And then it just became so clear that we have different values. But I stayed.
But then you stayed to continue your master's degree.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after your studies at Westminster, you decide to stay in England to pursue a career as an interpreter. But you say, for many years, I lived trapped in my own insecurities. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Living in fear and sorrow, attracting pain and harmful relationships into my life, despite my successful career. I was feeling exhausted, unworthy, used, unfulfilled. Okay, let's start with the first part, right? Let's start with the first part. It's a long story, guys. What were some of these insecurities that you were facing?
I would put it in an umbrella term. I didn't feel I'm good enough. That's how I would just summarize it. That not good enoughness was my life filter. So I was always striving for being better, but I was always putting that shadow on myself, like no matter what I'm doing, it's not good enough. So yeah, I was looking for that external recognition and acceptance, sabotaging myself and not noticing my light and my brilliance and the spark that I was bringing to the world.
Yeah.
So that's how I would call my insecurities.
I see. So it also says you were living in fear and sorrow. What were you afraid of or sorry about?
Always afraid of that something will go wrong, that I will not have enough money to survive, that I will not find enough job, that I will fail in life, that I will not find friends in life. So there was always like living in that fear that something bad is going to happen. Even though there wasn't any sign in the external world, I was doing pretty well when I looked back at some point when I healed my wounds. But yeah, I was always kind of succeeding in the things that I was pursuing, but that fear was present.
Yeah.
And one of the big fears was that I will never find the love of my life. So that was also a big part of fear. Yeah.
So when you add all of these negative feelings, the result is always an attraction of pain and harmful relationships, right?
Yes.
Can you maybe give us some personal or general experiences of this snowball effect? How people's thoughts and feelings lead to specific outcomes and actions?
Well, I felt that I am someone worse because I come from Poland. And that was a turbulent journey for me to learn that my nationality and origin is actually a gift rather than something to be ashamed of. But that was one of the filters. So I was kind of like feeling I am worse than you. So whenever I was meeting a man, then, I had that veil of I'm already from the start a little bit worse, right? But that was kind of in my subconscious. But that was affecting how I was coming across. And with this feeling of not being good enough, I was sabotaging my relationships because I wasn't being myself in the relationship. So I was like kind of acting. I thought I need to be better than. I thought I am not allowed to show my weakness. I thought I'm not allowed to be vulnerable. I thought, that if somebody notices my weaknesses or flaws, that I will be judged by them and then left. So I was living in that lie, wearing that mask, but people obviously could feel lack of my authenticity one way or the other, consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
And that was giving them power that was being used against me. So as I was approaching another relationship and another relationship and another relationship every like 6 months or so, because with every relationship I thought this is for real, this is for good, this is worth my investment of love and care and attention. It was backfiring at me. So people were taking advantage of me, they were cheating, they were using me, and I thought, oh, how can they use me? I've got such a good heart. But my good heart was not aligned with my authenticity and with my power. My good heart was aligned with fear. Like, I have to be good for you so you will never leave me. And that was backfiring. And I learned that through number of painful experiences, which today I view as a gift. Right?
So what you're essentially saying is your inner thoughts were not aligning with your outer actions. The way you were acting towards your relationship partners was not in line with your inner thoughts and the way you viewed yourself. Is that what you're saying?
No, I viewed myself as an inferior.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah?
You viewed yourself inferior, but you were acting as a good person, as a nice person towards your partners.
Yes.
But then it didn't match up, like on the same energy frequency level, so that your partner see you as an authentic person.
Yeah. When you say that alignment with my authentic power, that was missing.
Yeah.
I was not living in my power. I was forcing something.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying
but
to say.
But it wasn't my power, right?
Yeah.
And it took me, I think it took me a decade, about 10 years to connect with my power, to discover it within me, because it was always there. It has always been there, right?
Yeah.
I was just not connected with it, and I didn't know that I have that. So I thought that, your strength comes from your actions. So I thought I need to act a specific way to be strong, rather than find that strength within me that is not fake and not played, but is the authentic part of me.
Yeah.
And I think all those failed relationships, they were such a gift, because every failure was like making me more rebellious in myself, more angry. Like that anger was waking up within me, and it was good, because in the end, that anger kind of woke me up completely and said, hey, listen, girl. It was like a shaking moment. It said, listen, girl, It's like enough is enough. You deserve better. You are a better person than you kind of manifest in your relationships. It's time to change something. And I remember at some point in my life, I started getting inspired by watching women in relationships where they were completely honest. So I'll never forget the first relationships were among my friends, and women were like very authentic to the point that they were saying what they mean and what they feel, and it didn't feel in any way kind or sweet, like I was kind of thinking that this is the right way to do. They were just being themselves.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that is possible?
Yeah.
Like, and then they don't break up?
Yeah.
Like, she was rude,
Yeah.
but she wasn't actually. She was really authentic. She was stating what her needs are. She was expressing her authentic voice, right? So these were the first signals for me to learn from.
That's amazing. Wow, what a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So the next and logical part of this negative chain is the feeling of exhaustion, unworthiness, unfulfillment, and being used, right? Which
Yes.
you've just explained. So do you see this regularly when working with your clients? And how do you relate this back to yourself when you were going through all of these challenging times?
I saw those patterns in my older clients because I feel that through my transformation, I attract also different people to my world. So I started with people who were suffering from feeling inferior, feeling not good enough, and basically lacking self-love. So that was at the beginning when I was coaching, and I feel that my client is also transforming, yes,
Okay.
evolving together with me. So now many women that approach me and seek my guidance as their coach are women who have been already working on their self-growth and development. They are very aware of themselves, but still they hit the point where something doesn't feel quite right, where they feel like they achieve a lot of success, but they maybe are not in the relationships that they would like to be, or on the other hand, they have great relationships, but success career wise there is something off. And many of the women that are my clients are also very strong women, so they seek that balance between feminine and masculine energy within them. That's also something I had to learn, because through my experiences I had to learn to be tough, to be strong woman, to be self-reliant, self-sufficient. I learned that. It helped me in life, but that backfires as well if you're only that, because there is no balance. And it's the same with men, right? Like if they have too much masculine energy and no feminine, let's say, or otherwise too much feminine and not enough masculine, it backfires. It's like they don't live that true aligned power that comes from within.
Okay.
They put the mask, and it's never healthy.
So here is where the good part comes in. You are having a successful career, not entirely happy with your situation, but you believe that life can be different and there's power within you, which you still had to discover.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Can you tell us what exactly inspired you to decide that now is the time to make a change, or else it might be too late?
Absolutely. That was in England 9 years after living there, and I applied for the British passport. I started thinking of buying my first property there and thinking, okay, I'm in my 30s now. I have a career that I've been building for almost a decade as an interpreter. So it sounds like the time to settle down. So my question was, do I want to settle down by buying property and living here and knowing I'm staying here? Or do I want to experience something more before I settle down? Especially that I didn't have a boyfriend and family, nor kids or pets.
Yeah.
So that ninth year of being in England, I thought, I want to experience more. And universe listens to us, because I knew I want to experience more. I didn't know what exactly, but I knew that it doesn't necessarily need to be England. So I was actually thinking of maybe I should volunteer in Africa. Maybe I should teach English as a volunteer around the world. And that was the point. These thoughts were just in my head. Nobody knew about them. Just I was reflecting. And one day my cousin from Denmark rings me. He is Polish as well. He has lived in Denmark for over 40 years at that point.
Yeah.
So he was almost like kind of brought up in that country. And he rings me and says, "Would you like to move to Denmark?" So
Wow.
it felt like it came out of nowhere, but I felt it was like
The
I'm
universe. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it was, the reason why he said that, because he never heard about me complaining about living in England. He knew that I've been building my life and career there.
Mhm.
So that was also, he said also, like, I don't know what I say it. And I don't know exactly why I reach out to you, but I think you should try it. Before you settle down in England, you should try it. Maybe you will like it more. So that's what happened. So the universe really listens.
Guys, your thoughts and your wishes always have to be, you know, it has to be positive, because when, like you were saying, when you're wishing for things and thinking about certain things, you never know when the universe is planning it for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes in many ways and forms.
And it comes because, of course, we can wish for many things. We can sit here and say, I wish I had, I don't know, a bottle of orange juice, right? Maybe you have something chi in your fridge, you could bring it. But what I noticed when we manifest things or experiences, they manifest very fast when they are aligned with our feelings. So when I was sitting there and thinking, I am ready to experience something new, it didn't come from my logical mind. It came from my feelings and my embodied emotions. I felt I want to experience something new. And as I had mentioned, I didn't know what it will look like,
Yeah.
right? I had no idea. I just knew that I want something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the feeling is I think it's like a rocket fuel. Yeah.
So can you describe that moment when you first realized like you're making positive changes in your life and things are like beginning to go well for you?
2019,
Ah,
that
okay.
was the moment.
Yeah.
But I moved to Denmark in 2015,
Yeah.
thinking, I am
You
so
got
evolved.
it.
I've been investing in my growth.
Yeah.
I'm ready for new, and I will move to Denmark, and everything will be different, right? That was a beautiful lesson. When, after about 2 years of being in Denmark, I recognized that I repeat all the patterns.
Oh.
So it started feeling like I still was in England.
Oh.
I became an interpreter, yes, but as I was leaving England, I thought I became a workaholic. I don't want to continue that. Now, 2 years being in Denmark, I notice I repeat the same pattern. I become a workaholic again. Okay? 1, relationships, a disaster.
Yeah.
One after another, new boyfriend, trying again, hopeful, this time it will work. The same pattern, abusive, disrespectful. I thought, what's wrong? Right? Like, what happened with all those years I was investing in my self growth and development, reading the books, studying psychology, meeting the coaches? What is going on? And then I had the moment of reflection when I realized, Kasia, you can change places as much as you want in your life. If there are still wounds that have not been healed within you, you will continue repeating the same patterns. Nothing will change unless you change, right? Within you, unless you start embodying different identity. And so I decided again to stop dating for about 2 years and invest all that energy and attention into my development. And during that time, I discovered a very surprising aspect of me holding anger and not knowing how to express my anger.
Yeah.
And I was in shock when my new coach said that. I felt like firing her. I said, like, what are you talking about? Anger. Have we met? I mean, meet any person that knows me. I am the calmest, the nicest, the kindest person that there can be. And that's what she said. And that's exactly why I am certain that you don't express your anger in a healthy way.
Okay.
And she was right.
All right. Hold the anger thought. Guys, we're gonna get back to the anger thought. Later, right? Let's move on chronologically.
Let's do it.
It's an interesting story. All right. So, do you also see like the spark in your clients' eyes when and expressions of joy whenever they discover like the true power within them and realign with their purpose?
This is life changing.
I
That
see.
spark
Yeah.
when something clicks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not only at the level of understanding, but it's on the deeper level of being, of feeling,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's where you know that something happened.
So we know for anyone to succeed in such a tough transformational journey and come out of this situation victorious on the other side, which is unconditional self-love, happiness, and peace, right? Some forgiveness and self-acceptance must be done,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which you rightfully said. And in your case, the hurdles you had to overcome were like guilt, unprocessed anger, unworthiness, right? If you mind sharing, what were the feelings of guilt and what were you angry about?
Mm. Oh, it was like a Pandora box. It
You never
was
knew what
a
was coming.
it was a Pandora box, and it was so shocking because I was in my 30s there.
Oh.
Um, so it all started with that kind of trigger when the coach said, "You've got unresolved anger." And
Mhm.
she invited me, it was just a warm invitation to explore that, to dive a little deeper. And of course, being a coach, she was asking questions. Um, and I don't remember it was if it happened during the session or after the session, but I realized that I was angry at my dad, whom, ironically, I was putting on a pedestal all my life. So I was like I was my how do you call it? It's like a daddy's girl,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because he worshipped me as a child. He was the one who was attending my school performances. He was the one who was um cheerleading me at school. He was the one who was uh, uh, taking me out for desserts when I had good grades, etc. Now I see there's a lot of toxicity in that as well, right? But it felt nice back then as a kid. So I was idealizing him, but at the same time, I was turning blind eye onto how my dad was disrespecting my mom entire life. And alcohol was involved as well, abusive language, extremely abusive language, like really, like the one that you really don't want to have in the family.
Yeah.
I I was living in that reality, but because I was a kid, I didn't want to process the the dirt in the family. I was choosing to focus on the good things, and the good things were like, you know, the cherry on the cake,
Yeah.
the good moments.
Yeah.
So that moment, I realized that I'm angry at my dad by how he was mistreating my mom. Then I was angry at my mom. That anger came later, and the anger was connected with, I'm angry with you that you didn't fight back, that you were letting him mistreat you. You know, of course, now I have more compassion to both of them. I love them dearly, and they know it.
Yeah.
But that happened after me processing everything. So that anger that happened to my dad initially, it took me about a year to process it, and that was a very interesting period in in my life and my dad's life, because I decided, I all of a sudden it was like a switch from that daddy's girl. I became furious woman who can't stand him, and I was learning how to communicate with him, how to tell him what I really feel and how disappointed I am and how hurt I am that I had to experience what I had experienced as a child, witnessing that violence. But that conversation happened, and it was, oh my God, I have chills when I think about it, because I was growing to the woman that would have the language to speak to my dad without blaming him, but trying to understand him and trying to find that forgiveness for him. It didn't come easy. I think it took me 1 year to really forgive. But that year of me working on myself and that anger brought me to the point when I was ready to talk to him and I was ready to forgive. We both cried. I think the conversation lasted about 2 hours. It happened in the middle of the night, and it was so cleansing. It was so cathartic for both of us. So yes, that's my story of my anger.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. I can just imagine. Was it a winter midnight or summer?
Winter in Poland.
Yeah, that's what I thought so. That's what I thought so. It's exactly the scenario in my head. Like this was probably a cold night,
Mhm.
and she was like, "It has to be today."
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. If we were to do a sample coaching session right now, and I were your client, right? What are some beginner steps I will have to take to overcome guilt, on process anger, and unworthiness? If we were to do like a sample one-on-one right now.
Well, first of all, we would start from finding out one goal that you would like to achieve in today's session. So, what would be the most important for you to experience today? And sometimes we know what we want to achieve, and sometimes we're like, I have no idea, right? So then I start by asking different questions and then trying to find out the direction that the coaching will go. But what I will say, what differentiates coaching from mentoring is the fact that coach asks only questions. Coach does not serve any guidance, does not give any advice, or does not share with her own life stories. Coach asks the questions.
Okay.
And the good coach doesn't have any template of questions that she wants to ask or he. Good coach is an amazing listener.
Yeah.
So he or she listens, and the answers become a guidance. Which direction do we want to go? And the coach is an amazing part of our transformation because a good coach, qualified coach, is opening a space, a safe space where that person feels safe enough to open up. And very often we go quite deep very quickly, and that can be scary. That can be scary not only in terms of I'm scared to say it out loud because there is a coach, I'm scared to admit it to myself.
Yeah.
I always say to the clients that I meet, we need to figure out if you're ready, if you want to go that deep, if you really crave that transformation, or it's something you've read about and you just want to test it, right? But I never know which direction the coaching session will go because it depends on the journey of that individual,
Yeah.
right?
Most of the times, I think people are not usually honest to themselves as well, right? Because I usually listen to a lot of motivational speakers as well, and they usually say people are not like ready to write down what they actually want, and like read it out loud and actually go after it, because they kind of like suppress it from time to time, like, okay, this is what I want, but then they suppress it, and then they move on to the good side, like you were doing with your dad, and then it keeps on piling up for a very long time, So I feel like you're definitely right when you say a good coach has to listen and give the person time to like build up to the point where they're ready to like express themselves, because I feel like that's what's lacking these days. People actually making honest decision of facing their reality.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, Chi. And it's also like it's interesting. It's not only facing the strong feelings of sadness or like difficult emotions. It's also honesty in terms of like the example you've just given, what we want.
Yeah.
Because we very often are so stimulated by the external noise
True.
that we think we want that,
Yeah, true.
right? And only we can only verify it when we start experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's like those dreams. Oh, I want to go on a holiday to a sunny country, right? Like because it will be fun.
Yeah.
And then you go there and you think, oh, this is not what I thought that it would be,
Yeah.
right? Or like you get disappointed and you actually realize I don't actually know if I like that. I don't know actually if I want that. Maybe I would prefer a cold climate, right?
Yeah.
So it's not so easy to know what we want
Yeah.
when you think about it.
True.
Because how much of that wanting comes from our aligned desire
Purpose. Yeah.
and how much comes from like a status, from what we've seen, what others experience, and they
Exactly.
smile when they experience it. So we
Yeah.
take it for granted. It must be nice because they smile, right?
Yeah, that's the problem these days with the social media and all of the external influences we have, right? Because there's a lot of influencers that are coming up these days, and everyone is advertising this like it's the best thing you need to experience, but you never understand that behind all of these things is just like a money making scheme or just promotional or those kind of things, right? And people get like lost
Yeah.
the way you say.
Yeah, and they also
Yeah,
say
right.
that 2025 is the year of shifts. Of course, there's planetary shift, etc. But it is kind of being expressed that this year will be also a year where many of those influencers will be tested,
Yeah.
because you need something more than just desire to be famous or rich
They,
in order to be consistent.
yeah, yeah.
That needs to be a burning desire of something bringing value to the world than just wanting everything for yourself. And I see people burning out,
Mm-hmm.
those who are motivated by fame and money,
Yeah.
but those who have desire to shift, elevate, change, bring difference to the world,
Yeah.
share with their talent, with their gift, not because they are vain, but because they have that talent naturally and they want to share it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I see that businesses grow.
Yeah, exactly. So the last and most important part of the story is what made you decide to work as a transformative coach? Because after going through all of these long-term inner battles and finally emerging like victorious, most people might be like, okay, I want to walk away, say I just want to quietly enjoy my life, like, you know, somewhere, in a Bali or somewhere, because you already got your job, you can work remotely, anywhere you want to, So what made you stick around and say you still want to help other women discover their true potential?
I think my story and my transformation and experiencing that inner shift from a girl who lived in fear and was um, trapped in the victim mode to a woman aligned, living on purpose and seeing what gifts she can share with the world, and how my transformation healed my relationships, affects my life daily.
Mm-hmm.
That made me understand and know that we all are capable of that transformation. And living it myself, I just thought, oh my God, I lived trapped, because I didn't know better. And I thought that this is the beginning and the end. I thought that I will need to repeat the generational stories. I felt at that point, back in my 20s, I felt like, okay, there is this division for them or them and us, where I saw myself. So, like, I saw that polarity in the world. I'm here, I'm worse than, and there is the space for them. And then going through that very deep inner struggle, transformation, embodiment of new identity, I don't deny it was hard work. It was very conscious work. And it was also an investment. I was investing in that, both time and money. But I was seeing changes in my life, changes that affected my business life, my personal life, my relationships. And then I reached the point where I started inspiring others, motivating others. So I thought, I want to share with that. I want more women, also men, to experience that shift. Because throughout that shift, I it was like awakening the lioness within me,
Mm-hmm.
connecting to that true power within me, which we all have,
Yeah.
all of us. Because I thought, if I was laying there on the floor, curled down in my 20s, having a knife in my head and thinking of suicide and actually contemplating, shall I cut or shall I not? And being where I am now, I think, we all deserve that gift of inner transformation, that gift of getting to know yourself and discovering that inner power. Because we have so much to give, I have so much to give, but I didn't see it where I was there, down there on the floor, contemplating suicide. I didn't see those gifts. But those gifts have always been within me. And I know that whomever I meet on the street, in my life, all of us have those gifts. But not all of us were lucky enough to have that support, that guiding hand, that someone who would believe in you enough, or even finding that belief in yourself from yourself. Not all of us have been lucky enough to have that. And that's where we can lose hope and give up, right? So I want to support, elevate, and inspire and motivate to don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep searching, right? Because that power lives within each of and every one of us.
Amazing. Inspirational, guys. So, do you have any children, Kasia?
Do you have any?
Children.
Not that I gave birth to. I would
Okay.
say I've got one. I've got what is it called? Like it's a papmoa in Danish.
Is it like surrogacy or?
No, I'm like my partner, my fiance has got a daughter.
Okay.
So
it's your stepmom.
I'm a stepmom, yes,
Yeah.
and Fiona is her name. She lives with us.
Okay.
So it has been an interesting also part of my life,
Yeah. Right.
learning that role as a stepmother. Right? There is no book like how to be a stepmother. Right? It's like you can just learn it, but it's learning through experience. Yeah.
Hey, Kasia, this is something, right, that I always discuss with people all the time. There are certain subjects that we need to learn in school.
Yes.
Number one is marriage. Number two is how to be a parent. Number three is how to manage your money. I think number four is probably what's gonna be number four?
How to love yourself.
How to love yourself. Yeah, those kind of subjects. I think those are things we need to do in school.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's like that's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what life is teaching us.
Yes.
We're not being taught in
Absolutely.
school.
Like, why don't they teach that at school, right?
Yeah. So, how do you spend your time when you're not working? You have any hobbies?
I love reading
Okay.
and I love silence.
Mm,
And I love being in silence or reading in silence.
yeah.
So if I am not surrounded by my family or friends, that's what I love the most. So it's like, for me, it's always like checking out with my schedule and tasks and seeing, do I have space and time for that moment of silence?
Mhm.
Whether I read or not, it doesn't matter. But this is what brings me joy and
Peace.
yes, and I feel like an iPhone plugged into the
Recharge.
charger, right?
Yeah. Tell us about silence, Kasia. How is that moment like? Because a lot of us don't have silence.
Mm.
We are always like looking for the next stimulation, activation. You cannot sit still.
Many of my clients, those high achievers, they come to me with that question because they notice that they don't switch off and they go from one achievement to the other. But it's a very beautiful question, how to find that silence and how to find comfort in that silence.
Exactly.
Because my partner, he can't.
Yeah.
He is distracted by silence. He does not feel comfortable. How do I know that? We don't talk about it, but he needs to have some music sound in the background always. Otherwise, he feels discomfort.
Yeah.
So he has silence when he sleeps. That's the only part of the day when he experiences silence, right? But
no conscious silence, like you decide now is silence.
no.
Yeah.
No, because being in silence while scrolling your phone, you still are surrounded by noise, right? Even if you've got the phone on silence,
Yeah.
it's noise from the pictures, from the feed, right?
Yeah. The images. True.
One of the exercises I challenge my clients to when I coach them is setting a 4-hour period where they're going to sit in silence for 4 hours,
Wow.
non-stop. You're not allowed to have a radio. You're not allowed to have a notepad. You're not allowed to have books or magazines. You're not allowed to look at the TV. You're not allowed to have any music, not even in the background. All you can do is to sit with your thoughts. And I remember when that task was given to me by my coach a few years ago, I thought, what a waste of time. 4 hours. I could do so much in 4 hours. I could read this book. I could write that. I could do this job. I could this.
Yeah.
For me, it was mostly about wasting time. And I was told, well, what if it's the biggest time investment? Try it, right?
Yeah.
I would say I encourage anyone watching this to try it. You can't eat either. You can't entertain your taste or you can have a glass of water, of course, not to get dehydrated, and you can go to the bathroom, but that's all, right? It does something for us, and if it does something for us because you catch yourself, you catch your thoughts, you catch the discomfort. It's very individual experience. Every person will experience it differently, right? But this is the gift.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the reason why I asked that question is because when you mentioned that sentence that you always sit by yourself silent, that's something that I always did too in the past, and I really love it, and I still love doing it. The times when I just want to shut off everything and just sit quietly, like just lie on the couch and be by myself very quietly. It can be in the dark, it can be with lights on, but nothing around, just distracting. And I did learn this thing from some other motivational speakers like Bob Proctor, because I was reading this book called The Master Key System, and we were having like some task. After each chapter, you have like exercises to practice, like meditation, sitting by yourself, no distractions, learning different things step by step. So when you talked about silence, I was just like, okay, this is a great point. And I feel like a lot of people lack that these days, which is very detrimental. I think many people got to try it.
Yeah,
They
I
gotta
think,
try it.
I think it is getting worse because of the exposure to social media.
Yeah.
I notice it in my stepdaughter
Mm.
because, having access to the phone, she
Yeah.
shouldn't probably, she's only 12, but she has access to it.
Mhm.
It's like looking for that distraction.
Yeah.
And even when we take phone away from her, then she asks, what can I do next? What can I do next?
Yeah,
Right?
right.
So she draws. She loves drawing. But then it becomes almost like an obsession. Then she starts drawing and she doesn't want to stop because she knows that once she stops, she's going to get bored. And that feels like a threat. Even when we drive a car and we go for a little trip, and we tell her no telephone now, right? Or no iPad. And she gets like frustrated. What shall I do now? And I say, look through the window. This is stupid. I don't like it. Why shall I do it? Right?
Yeah.
So I feel that, and I see it also in my boyfriend. And sometimes I catch myself scrolling mindlessly,
Uselessly.
right? Like it's like it is really, it is designed to
Yeah.
make us addicted to it, and it works.
Yeah.
Right? So it takes effort and conscious effort to stop.
True.
But when we try, it brings that alignment to our world.
Exactly.
It helps us calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It helps us relax. It helps us relax. When we stop looking and digesting that content, we become
In tune
in,
with yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
And initially, it can be very uncomfortable when we're not used to it.
Mm.
The thoughts, what shall I do with the thoughts when they come, right? They
Yeah.
start bombarding me. I don't know what to do. I start thinking, overthinking, and then I get stressed, etc. And that's why we need it even more, that silence, that time to start observing those thoughts. And that is where embodiment also comes into play. What we do with those obsessive thoughts, what we do with, with our system, nervous system, what do we do with our emotions where they come to us? This is what embodiment can really help us, the tools from embodiment.
Okay.
To align with our bodies, to be in peace in our body. And all of a sudden you learn, I can sit in silence and I can actually not only be comfortable, I can feel more relaxed, happier. Yeah, I would really
amazing.
recommend that silence.
Guys, it's an amazing exercise. If you haven't tried it, do it for 20 minutes. Start with 10 minutes if you want to. It's amazing. I'm glad someone can also share the experience.
Yeah.
So you are the founder of a motivational language school here in Copenhagen. What is a motivational language school and what kind of services do you offer?
Yeah, so I run two businesses. One is focused on language.
Yeah.
One is focused on coaching and mentoring and public speaking. But in 2019, I started creating language courses, Danish courses online, because I thought I want to live independently from the location. I want to have that freedom of movement. And one of my core values has always been freedom. So it can also be seen as the freedom of movement. And I thought, while going to different interpreting assignments in Denmark, I was meeting a lot of Polish people who struggled with Danish and learning Danish. And many of them were losing hope and saying, I've been studying for so many years and it doesn't work. So they were putting that on themselves, calling themselves names, saying that I'm not worthy, saying that they are not good enough. And I thought, this is rubbish. I mean, there is so much potential sitting in front of me in terms of those people who lose their hope. I can help.
Yeah.
Especially that I learned Danish in 1 year, which was also a shocking aspect for me, but it happened. So I started thinking, if I did that in 1 year, how can I help others do that? So I combined what I was learning from psychology with the language teaching. I noticed that we can't focus only on the language. And there comes this motivational aspect, which turns out not to be really so much motivation as learning more about ourselves, removing the certain mental blocks, starting to believe in ourselves again. Because the more you believe in yourself, the faster you learn the language.
True.
Right? Because every time you make a mistake, and we make many mistakes when we learn a language, which is a natural aspect of learning anything, then you don't take those mistakes personally. You start treating them as, okay, that was a mistake. I can learn from it, right?
Yeah.
Rather be doomed by my mistakes. So that's how motivational language teaching started.
So you saw the opportunity to solve a problem.
Yes.
And you provided a solution.
Spot on.
That's business. Business 101. All right. So what's your best land experience you've had since you began the journey of empowerment?
Oh, that's something I have not been contemplating because there were many.
Okay.
As a collective, looking at my clients and their transformation, sometimes I cry together with my clients when they have that aha moment and something energetically is released. Seeing them thrive, seeing them discovering that courage, which is coming from aligned empowerment rather than put on them from the outside world. So how I see it, it's much easier to have a temporary result, motivating people by motivational speeches.
Yeah.
So if I say, you can do it, Chi. I believe in you. Look at you. You've achieved so much. You can do it. You're really strong. You've got so much talent, right?
Yeah.
You will feel that spike of enthusiasm and higher vibration, but it will be temporary. Right? As long as I'm leaving you and we meet after a week, you'll be like, where's Kasia? I want that speech, right? I need those words. Like, I don't believe in myself. But when you work with clients on that inner level, embodiment, and actually helping them reach out to their inner power, that's where the power comes from. And that's where it stays with them. They don't need me or anyone else to tell them that they are good enough. They start feeling it, that they're good enough.
Yeah.
And when that happens, they start creating different life
Mm.
for them, for their clients, for their colleagues, for their family members.
Yeah.
So I feel that working as the transformational coach and mentor, seeing that transformation is
The best feeling.
priceless. Yeah,
So
it
what's
is.
the biggest, let's go to the other side. What's the biggest challenge you faced while working with your clients?
Going too deep too soon.
Oh,
I had a client who
yeah.
freaked out.
Yeah.
And we used one of very powerful tools in embodiment. It's EFT. So it's where we tap on our parts of the body.
Okay.
That's one of the tools. But we did that too soon. And that's what we were talking about at the start of this interview. You need to be ready to
Face your demons.
and not all of us are. So that was a challenge. That was a challenge for me. I had to learn, not to take that personally. I had to learn also. I luckily I had access to other coaches who were very much experienced, and they were actually sharing with me that this happens much more often than we believe.
Mm-hmm.
And how to navigate that with the client, right? Like how to help her, support her in that moment where she freaks out or he freaks out and doesn't know what to do, because now we opened up something that feels far too much, and they want to run away,
Yeah.
or they want to fight you. So they become challenging in the way how they respond to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is something. That's why I feel that it's so important to advocate that coaching is not just a profession that you learn from the book. It's something that you need to be trained to do if you
Yeah.
want to do it professionally, because you can do some damage to people,
True.
right?
True.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, and you already have those certifications, right? Because I saw on your resume you have the International Coaching
Yeah. Federation certification.
Federation. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's very important, because making people go back in time to places where they don't want to go to, sometimes it can be like
Yeah.
very irritable, or people start wondering like, okay, now the wounds are open. What am I gonna do with it?
Yes.
Should I go and face the people now?
Yes.
Or should I like, what has my life been all this while? What is my purpose? What, yeah, have I been wasting my time? So they start being like defensive as well,
Yes.
right? So
Yes, and
it's
some memories are completely like withdrawn.
yeah,
Like when we as kids go through some trauma, there are some memories we choose not to remember, right?
true,
So
true.
what if during the session we reach so deep that you all of a sudden everything surfaces and you
Yeah.
don't know what to do with that pain?
Yeah,
But I also advocate that it's very important that we differentiate coaching from therapy. I sometimes ask my clients when I see when we have interview where we kind of check out, are we a perfect match? Can we work together? Can I help you? Do you want to work with me? Do you feel energetically connected? I also, one of the questions I ask, have you been in therapy? Right? Because if they mention that there was sexual abuse, for example, in the family, the first question I ask, have you been to therapy? Because I know as a coach, I need to co work with a therapist, a certain person who knows how to navigate trauma. And as a coach, I don't have those tools
Yeah.
to navigate through trauma. But if you have worked on your trauma before with a therapist, then you can come to me,
okay.
right?
So there's steps to it, guys.
Yes.
So there are a lot of young girls watching this interview right now, Kasia, who are probably inspired by your journey. You got all the credentials, successful lady, looking good. What is the message you would like to share with them?
I would say invest your time and money into finding self love.
Mm. Okay.
I find that aspect of loving yourself is the key aspect of living a fulfilled life, empowered life.
Mhm.
And we are not being taught how to love ourselves, unfortunately. I think that should be also a subject at
Yeah,
school.
right.
Yeah, we mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Because self-love is something that is the basis of everything else. It's your power at work, within your family, in your relationships. It's your power, inner power. If you know how to love yourself unconditionally, because it's so easy to love ourselves when we are successful, but how to love your flaws, how to love yourself when you go through challenges in life, right? Learning to love yourself unconditionally, I think, is one of the biggest aspects that can um, elevate our life.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that words of wisdom.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna move on to the last part of our show, which is our game. We have a game called Know Me Uncomfortably Well. You have 30 seconds to answer a few questions.
Okay. Oh, I start feeling stressed.
Don't worry, don't worry. It's just straightforward, you
Okay.
know. Just short answers. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question number one, name three of your favorite dishes.
Sushi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. Um, Mozartkugel. They
Okay.
are like small chocolates with marzipan and nougat
Yeah.
covered in dark chocolate.
Mm.
And ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yes.
All right. Next question. Name three of your favorite music artists.
Oh, Amy Winehouse just dropped in, but also Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Frank Sinatra. It's like it brings me to that like kind of old soul feeling within myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michael Bublé.
Who is that? What artist?
Michael Bublé. It's
Is he an older artist? What
no,
genre
he's a
does he
young
sing?
one. Oh, you need to Google him.
Yeah, right.
He is kind of taking some of the old songs, like Frank Sinatra songs, and with a modern twist.
Mhm.
He is a young singer, but with this old kind of twist in
Yeah.
terms of choice of songs.
Jazz.
But if I was going to look at the Danish, then I would say Rasmus Seebach.
Okay.
And I have a sentiment to that artist because I've been learning Danish on his songs.
Mhm. Oh, you said you were learning Danish on the songs?
Yes.
That's the same thing I was doing when I was learning German.
There we go.
I knew like all of the artist names in German. I knew the German movies. I knew like the German history, like, because this is how the brain works, like when you know the song, you know the words in the song, you can relate it to daily life.
Absolutely.
And that's how you learn the language, like in a few months and a few years. You don't even need like a very long time to learn a language when you're like doing it like that. So
Yeah.
it's we got that in common.
I like that.
Name three of your favorite songs.
I don't actually know probably the titles by heart. Because I'm not like kind of driven by a specific song. If I find a song that I really like, then I start listening to it a lot over and
Okay.
over again.
Yeah.
But I don't pay attention to the title or the artist.
Okay, home one. Give us the melody of one.
There is a song, I think it's called I Love Me,
Okay.
right? Don't remember who sings it. It's a young artist, but I think we can YouTube it. I Love Me.
I love me.
It's-
How does it
it-
go?
And,
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm not gonna
Sing it.
do it on
Come
the
on,
show.
come
I'm
on.
not gonna do. I remember that when you have that wounded soul, then you think, oh, this is wrong. You shouldn't love yourself more than others, and that
Yeah.
was my Catholic upbringing as well. And I had to heal that wound
Mhm.
because actually, this is our task to love ourselves more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because we are with ourselves all the time. So if I love my boyfriend more than I love myself, this is wrong. This
Yeah.
is not generosity.
Yeah.
This
It's
is not
even in the
love.
Bible. You have to love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yes.
in the Bible too. So it's normal. But nowadays people might say you're a narcissist.
Exactly.
You know, but
And
that's the contra.
exactly. And it's like it becomes like it gets that bad name sometimes. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like, how am I supposed to love myself better and more?
Yeah, right. Next question, name three of your favorite movies.
My favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you kind of surprised me with that because I need to come with it like so fast. Okay, I will be very corny by saying Holiday. I really like that. It brings me in a happy mood.
Yeah,
Love is Blind.
yeah.
It's probably because Christmas was not long time ago. And Titanic. I
Titanic.
think Titanic I've seen. No, you know which movie is my favorite? Leon. Leon the Professional.
Okay.
Such an old movie. I don't know why. As a kid, I was
Yeah.
obsessed with this story. You know, this little girl who becomes an assassin and
Yeah.
is trained by this assassin.
Yeah.
There is. It sounds so weird, but somehow I don't know. There must have been some values that were resonating with me as a kid that I really liked.
Leon the Professional,
Yes.
yeah? I'll check it out.
You have to.
Oh, it sounds interesting the way you're saying it.
Thank you.
You wanted to be a badass, so?
I want to be what? Sorry.
You wanted to be a badass?
No. Although I think I discovered through my self-discovery that badass part, and I like it. You know, I think all of us have it, and we need it. But I need to also mention. I know I was allowed to mention only 3. There's one movie that was really meaningful on my journey of inner transformation. I think it's a French movie. It's called Angela.
Okay.
It's like an angel and then capital A at the end. I'm not even sure if the streaming channels have it. I still have it on DVD, but I really recommend it. It's the movie. I recommend this movie for anyone looking for self-love. Such a weird story, film that is black and white, modern film, but the depth of the story and the message from that Angela, which is like an angel embodied in a human body, supermodel, by the way,
Okay.
helping the guy to find the love to himself. Mind blowing. And it's even more mind blowing when you are ready for that transformation, then you hear the message. I watched this movie with a few of my ex-boyfriends. They were not ready for self-love. So they doomed this films like, what is this?
What are
What
you
is
watching?
this
Yeah,
about? Like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
are we watching? Yeah. But when I watched it with people who were ready for that self-love, they were like mind blown. They were crying, big emotions were awakened, and yeah. So that I leave with you.
All right. So next one, name 3 of your favorite places you have not been to yet.
You see, this is where we go to that thing when you think you want that because you saw it somewhere. So Maldives.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maldives, yeah?
why. I would like to be in this bungalow that is in the water, in the ocean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Somehow it resonates with me.
Restaurant on water.
Yes, and people say it's boring and nothing happens there, but somehow I see myself there. So I really want to go there. I think it would be worth experiencing Japan.
Okay.
Just
Great
because
place.
it's
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
And I would like to experience that. And actually, I would say Australia, but I'm thinking also of places like Greenland, where it's like with extreme temperatures and
Yeah.
really rough weather. Experiencing that, I think, it might be on this embodied level much more exciting experience than going to the resorts that are well known,
True.
right?
True.
And jungle. I really would like to experience jungle, but that I would need to experience with like a experiencust guide,
Yeah,
right? Because
right.
I'm freaking out in
Yeah.
terms of spiders and snakes.
You probably need to go with Bear Grylls.
Yes,
Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls is a good guide. That would be a good guide for you.
I need to Google him.
All right. So the next one, name 3 of your favorite books.
Books. Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Just give us only 3, please.
The Power of Now by
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
Hard read,
Yeah.
but really powerful. And any of his books. There's also New Earth, which is more practical, so it might be easier for the readers. New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. What is it called? The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it was my first book when I was a teenager that I read it.
Yeah.
And that was like the opening doors to the exploration.
Exactly.
And what I'm reading now is this famous book by Mel Robbins, Let Them. I really like the way she writes. It's very easy read and very practical, filled with personal stories where you can mirror yourself.
Do you sleep on your side, your belly, or on your back?
All three. All three, and I'm
You're just
equally.
spinning around in the night.
But if you want to have like a fun fact about me,
Yeah.
excuse me, my fiance would probably mention that as well and laugh at it.
Yeah.
I sleep with my face covered. So I
Okay.
like when my ears need to be covered by the duvet,
Yeah.
and when I sleep on my back, then I also cover my face.
How do you breathe?
Exactly, that's the question everybody asks, right? I don't know. I find a way, but it's like somehow like I made like the hole in the duvet that the air comes through, but
Yeah.
my eyes, my ears, everything is covered. But I wouldn't be able to sleep in the mask, you know, in the eye mask. I hate that. But if it's duvet or pillow, I love it.
That's interesting. All right. On the rest day, do you prefer to stay indoors and relax or go out and have fun?
You know, I'm an introvert. Believe it or not, I'm an
Yeah.
introvert. I like both, but I would say 70% indoors, 30% outdoors.
Okay.
So if I have time of that 70% and I charge my batteries, I'm going to have a lot of fun outdoors. And I enjoy the vibe, the people, the music, the sounds, the food.
So talking about that, moving from England to Denmark, how did you find it here?
I like it much better in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel that culture-wise, people in Denmark are more honest. And so one may say they are less polite than British, but I find it just they're more honest. So it's harder to find, you know, a Danish person who will like welcome you with open arms and say hello, hi, what God, right? It's like one can think that they're more reserved, but I
Yeah.
like it because I see it as truthful,
Yeah.
and that gives me that natural distance that we can either diminish, so become closer, or it stays like that.
What's one thing you hate most?
I think that two-facedness, lack of honesty. I would rather somebody tell me in my face, I don't like you, or I don't like this, blah, 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 rather than playing a person who is kind and, you know, respects me and then talks behind my back.
Yeah. What's one thing you love most?
Oh, there's so many things I love. Oh, dear.
Give us the best one. What's one thing you love the most, like on your priority list?
I feel like affection with my
Yeah.
partner, that
Okay.
closeness, you
Yeah.
know, feeling that other person, and and that
Yeah.
you know, cozy time. I
Yeah.
feel that I also recharge a lot
Yeah.
through affection.
True. That's what is missing in the world today, guys. Affection. Do you have a role model?
You know, Oprah has been someone that has been inspiring me. And I think she has been inspiring me through the upliftment she's been serving people with, and empowerment. And recently it's Mel Robbins. I've been following her since 2018, and she's been quite active online, and I've been watching her ups and downs and seeing where she got now, you know, how she gracefully and authentically, how she was going through those challenges in her life, and where that consistency brought her because of her deeper mission of how I want to serve people. I find that very inspiring. And you know, there are so many people that I find inspiring also in my close circle of friends. There's the stories of people, I find them empowering. We are amazing. We're amazing.
All right, let's move to the next one. If you have to go with one style, what would it be? A, sports and active wear. B, urban and streetwear. C, elegant and classic clothing. D, high-end designer fashion.
Elegant and classic.
Elegant and
If I,
classic.
yeah, I think so. I like matching, actually. There is a name for it, which I should remember because I love fashion.
Yeah.
Like casual, elegant. You know, when you have, like, for example, like me today, I've got a t-shirt, right?
T-shirt and
But
a
then
suit on
elegant
top.
suit, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
right?
balance. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
Amazing.
style I like.
Let's see. So last one, what are 5 essential things you cannot live without? 30 seconds. One, books. Yeah.
And a dark chocolate,
2.
high quality. Um, sleep, which
3.
is I need. Silence.
4.
Affection.
Affection. Great. All right, guys.
No pressure.
That was Kasia's list, top 5 things. Okay, we're at the end of our show right now. Is there anything on your mind which you'd like to share before we closing?
I just want, after listening to that interview, I want you to like connect with yourself more and ask yourself, how much do you love yourself? Do you love yourself unconditionally? And if the answer is no, then what can you do every day to love yourself a little bit more? And the tips or tools that I've been using when I have been learning how to love myself unconditionally, and I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I still have moments when I break down and I doubt, my value sometimes. But the tools that I've been using is the reminder on the phone, a phrase, a sentence when you say, for example, you are loved or I love you, that pops up on your screen daily and reminds you of that,
Yeah.
right? Or remember, look in the mirror every morning or evening, wherever you are by the mirror, and look in your eyes and say, I love you. Say it out loud if you can. Say it in your head if you're not ready for that, because it's not always easy for us to say that to ourselves. I love you. And you might catch yourself looking away or not looking in your eyes, or like being too shy to say it.
Yeah.
Practice daily, a little bit more. So that's what I would leave you with.
Amazing, guys. There you have it. It's been Kasia, a motivational speaker, an embodiment coach, a transformative coach, a interpreter, a translator, everything. The ladies, extremely high value, guys. Thank you so much for blessing our show.
Thank you, Chi.
It's an honor having
Thank
such
you.
a blessing on you, like you on the show.
It
know.
was joy and honor to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for invitation.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching. It's been the Chi Chat Show. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway?